Hey, what's up everybody? It's Toby at Low Auto Sports. One question that we often get here is if I had to go buy detailing products on a budget, what would I pick? So in this video, we're heading to our local Walmart to shop for detailing products with a budget of $50. So we are going shopping now for some items over at the local Walmart. So usually when it comes to picking somewhere where you can buy detailing product, unless you live in a city that has a detailing store, which they're far and few. We don't have one here in Minnesota if you're from the Twin Cities area. We don't have one here. So it's usually gonna be Walmart, AutoZone, any auto parts store tend to have a general line of product. All right, so we have a decent section here actually. So one thing for sure that I need is a drying towel. I need a mitt to wash the car, and I'm gonna actually go with a soap that has some sealant or wax in it. Or if I can do a soap and a sealant separately, that's what I'll do. I definitely would prefer to have a soap and then a dedicated sealant or wax. But because we're on a tight budget, if I can have a combination of both and that's cheaper, that's what we're gonna have to do. So I see a few brands here. We're gonna grab this first, just under $4. Generally, if you can feel the product, you can kind of tell, and this feels soft enough. So I'll probably utilize this side more on the car. But $4, so we'll grab this one. The next thing I need is something to dry the car with. You're gonna want a specific drying towel. They just tend to absorb more water, but I'm not gonna go with this Chemical Guys one because that's $20 and we're on a budget. Now you do want something that's soft enough. So what I'm doing right now is I'm feeling the towels themselves. The more plush, the softer is what you wanna go with. Anything that touches paint can scratch to a degree. So I'm just trying to feel which one is softer. Okay, so I found some towels that are actually, I would normally like to get a dedicated drying towel, but these gives me quite a bit of towels for $10, and they feel pretty soft. So we're gonna grab this because this is actually perfect because I can use some of these for the door jams and stuff like that. Because you're not gonna wanna use the same ones on door jams that you use on your paint. Door jams that are generally dirty, don't use those. And it's got two different colors, which is great because that allows me to know which towel is for what. So that's $9.97. All right, I'm gonna get a wheel and tire cleaner. We're gonna go with Turtle Wax. I'm a big fan of Turtle Wax product. They've got a great reputation. They've been around for a long time, and it's not too expensive. So that's $5. So I got my wheels covered as well. All right, for soap, I'm gonna go with this Black Magic Wet and Shine solely because the value is good. Now, how much suds you get out of these, kind of hard to tell. It looks pretty watered down. Usually your concentrated stuff will be a lot more thick. This has got, it's quite viscous, pretty liquidy, but it's cheap, so we're gonna go with that. And then I'm gonna grab Mother's because this is just a brand that we've used in the past. It's big in the detailing industry, and so I like to go with trusted brands. And trusted brands have a lot to hold on their name and reputation. So I'm gonna grab this. This will be the topper that I use after my soap. And I just need a bucket. This one's nice and cheap, $2.74. Let's go with that. All right, so I did a rough math. I think we're under $50. Let's go check it out. But this is gonna be plenty for washing your vehicle, washing your wheels as well. We can use one of these to wash your wheels. And this should get us set to do a car wash for under $50. So we'll take it back to the shop and we'll see what everybody thinks of the products because they don't know I'm buying all this stuff for this video. So let's bring it back to the shop and wash my car. So I was walking out and I saw this thing here, $10 for a bucket, which can already hold your water, Chemical Guys wool cleaner, suds for soap, and interior cleaner, as well as a microfiber. So really for $10, if you got a Walmart near you, was $40, $10, you might want to get this. I'm not a huge fan of Chemical Guys. I think their product works. I know that they got a bad rap in the industry, especially in the US. Sounds like it's different in Europe. But for $10, you can't go wrong on this if you're just trying to wash your car. So it's even got the grid guard in it, so that's pretty cool. But we're gonna stick with what we got because my budget was $50 today. Let's see what we got here. I'm hoping that my budget will fit because I'm really craving a Diet Coke right now. $4.30, $15.11. Let's see if my math was correct. Oh my god, I think we might have. Oh yeah, we might be okay. We're at 27.29, 40.80. Oh man, we're actually gonna make this budget. We got enough money to stop by McDonald's. All right, grand total 46.24. Thank you very much.
Okay. I already kind of know where we got these, but I can assume these are from Walmart. I don't need to assume. I know it's from Walmart. There's nothing wrong with this. This is a very good beginner kit, especially if, you're just doing it at home. You're not doing it in the shop like how we do it all the time, and you just want to get stuff that's good enough. Not 100%, but partially the way there. It's pretty good. I like Mothers. They're pretty reliable brand for what they are. They're not top shelf stuff, but you don't need fancy stuff if you're doing it at home. Anybody can take care of the car with any price level. These are pretty good. Spray wax nowadays have gotten so good compared to what they used to be. It's not just some gimmick. They work. Just make sure you apply it on properly, out of the sun. Car is cool. You're good to go. Soap. Honestly, soap can't go wrong if it's not a strong detergent like dish soap. Like, don't use Dawn. It strips too much oil. You want a more gentle soap. As long as it suds up enough to where you're not just rubbing all that dirt on your car, still on your car. It actually gets it off. They're good enough. Black Magic has been around for a long time. Very consumer level, very entry level. They're perfect for just DIY. Same thing with Turtle Wax. Turtle Wax has been around for a long time. Wheel and tire cleaner. I haven't used it, but you could use pretty much anything on your wheels unless, you got some really fancy wheels. You don't want to use something crazy. They work pretty well. Let's see. I think the microfiber towels. Okay. Let's see these towels. Yeah, nothing wrong with it. 230 GSM. A little lower GSM. Typically we use around what do you use, like 400 or 500 GSM? GSM, I'm not like a scientist with it. I just know the higher the GSM, usually the thicker it is. You don't really need thickness. You just need something like what Tu said, soft, Nothing too abrasive. You don't want to use like a terry towel or like a bath towel, Anything microfiber is good enough. GSM is only if you really want to get picky with it. Comparison, your $60 champion sweater, they're usually around like 400 GSM. Just because it's a higher GSM does not mean it's good. I'd rather wash your car or dry your car with this than with the Champion sweatshirt. But these are good enough. And then sponge, typically not a huge fan of the dual side. Don't use this side, just use this side. These long frilly things, they can hold on to dirt and stuff like that. So just be mindful. But this is pretty good too. There's nothing wrong with it. Honestly, if you're not comfortable using a sponge, you don't want to use a sponge, use a towel too. You can wash with that as well. Just get two different towels, one for the on top, one for the lower of the body, where it's dirtier. Keep it separated. There's other brands out there. You don't have to go with any of these brands. There's also Meguiar's. Meguiar's is pretty good stuff. I use it at home. Even though I work here, I still use Meguiar's. I have a ton of that stuff at home. Even Chemical Guys, hot button topic. People hate on Chemical Guys. There's nothing wrong with it. If you're just doing DIY stuff, who really cares? We're not trying to be professional. Well, we have to be professional. You don't have to try to be professional. They are a little bit diluted, so you might have to use more. They are a little bit more on the expensive side because they cater more towards enthusiasts. They know their market, but there's nothing wrong with it. If you get it on a good sale, who cares? Just use it.
All right, so we're back with our products. The first one we're going to go over is called the Mother's Ultimate Hybrid Ceramic Detailer Bead Booster. I'm going to just quick read what this says about the product from Mother's directly. So SiO2 being the nanotechnology that they're talking about here, with some wax, which normally would be carnauba, in this case is synthetic in the bottle. This has a 4.3 star out of 700 ratings on Amazon. So we'll test it and then we'll let you guys know what we rated at. All right, the wheel cleaner that I chose. Now, this is the Turtle Wax Wheel and Tire Cleaner. I'm just gonna read you what the product description on Amazon is. So yeah, this has on Amazon a 4.3 out of 82 ratings. Turtle products have been around for a long time. I've used them a bunch before I actually owned the shop. I would still trust them. So with the 4.3 rating, we'll use it. Once again, we'll give you our opinion. Okay, and finally, it's the soap. If any of you out there have used a lot of Black Magic product, I'd love to hear what you guys think. This will be my first time using this. This has a 4.6 rating out of 233, so that's really good. I'll read you the product description real fast just so you understand. High rating, look forward to using this one. Once again, we'll tell you what we think. So when it comes to Mitt and microfiber towels, once again, keep in mind, I was working within a budget. I chose this one here. It was cheaper, but it felt really nice and plush and soft. It does have a harder side on the back, so I'm probably not gonna use this side here on the vehicle because anytime you put anything on a paint, you're essentially causing a level, even microscopic, of a scratch. So we're gonna use the softer side. We're gonna use the microfiber towels for two different things here. I will mostly use them for drying the vehicle, but I will probably use at least one of them for the wheels. And then I just have a regular bucket here. So we'll give my car a wash. I will show you how I wash the car using the products that I just purchased here. And then we'll go around and I'll ask the rest of the team what they think about the products that we got all for under 50 bucks. So first things first, I'm just gonna grab my mitt. I filled my bucket with water and I'm just gonna put a hefty amount of soap. And it's very, very liquidy. But I'm gonna try to get this to kind of be sudsy a little bit here. So that's step one. Now let's rinse off the vehicle. Okay, so now I'm gonna use my spray gun to spray off the car. Now, I understand if you don't have a power washer at home, just use your water hose. Obviously, this helps because you have added pressure, which kind of moves things off the surface. But if you just have a water hose, just turn that nozzle into a narrower stream so there's a little bit more pressure. And then I always like to wash from the top down, just kind of trying to push everything off. So I'm gonna rinse the car off first. Okay, so car's been rinsed down. Now it's time to wash it. Now, one tip that I will give you is always start from the top down because the bottom always tends to be a little bit dirtier. Now I only have one, which is not ideal. I'd rather have two of these so I can commit one to the bottom and one to the top. Reason being is you hate dragging some of that stuff from top to bottom. So I'm gonna do the best that I can just using the one, but I would advise, as you saw, I still had a little bit of budget left, so I could have actually bought a second one. I wasn't sure and I was really trying to stay within that $50. So let's go ahead and wash it. Now, one thing I like to do is I'm gonna try to get as much suds on the car if I can, because the suds are actually gonna lift some of the dirt up as well. So it's gonna kind of do its thing with the soap alone, and then me rubbing the mitt is obviously gonna push some of that away. So let's just go ahead and do that. So as I'm doing this, as you can see, it kind of takes a little bit of time. But I really like doing this because the foam really does play a part in the car wash process. But if you have a foam gun, if you can get a power washer and a foam gun, that would be ideal. The foam gun is just nice. It aerates the solution and then really makes it foamy. Creates a blanket, a coating, and you don't need to go into your bucket and constantly go back and forth. So that's why foam guns are really nice. But in this case, we're doing it this way. Another thing that I like to do when I'm washing the car as well is I try to break the car into sections. So for example, here, I'm kind of just doing 1/4. And an important thing to note is I'm actually applying a very light amount of pressure. And that's because, I know you're gonna hate to hear this, but anytime you rub anything on your paint, you're essentially causing some level of scratching. And, to some people, it's gonna be kind of counterintuitive because you're gonna say, well, I'm trying to wash my car, so I don't wanna scratch it. Well, that's where other things come into play. We're not gonna talk about it in this video, but PPF, stuff like that, that's when it's nice to have. In this case, I'm just using very light pressure. I am not forcibly cleaning through friction. I'm just using my mitt itself to actually capture things on the surface. So I'm gonna go ahead and complete the second half before I go to the bottom. Like I said earlier, if you had 2 mitts, it'd be ideal. If you can find 2 that are 2 different colors, even better. That way you have one committed to the lower half of the car and one committed to the upper half of the car. All right, so I actually want to give you guys an opinion other than just my own, because everybody that works at Yellow is a professional as well. So I'm gonna have my team come and try this product, and that way at the end we can give you an opinion as a team. And we've never used this product before, so, and we're not sponsored by them. We'll talk about it a little bit at the end when we're done washing the car. For now, I'll just let these guys test it out, and then we'll share all of our results with you later, and we'll compare with what the ratings on Amazon's are. And then we'll just open table talk about it quickly at the end.
Go along the car. Otherwise, I wouldn't use it at all.
Okay, so now we're just gonna rinse it off. Got it all washed. So now it's just getting the soap out, all the crooks and crevices of the car. Okay, so now you want to dry your vehicle off. As you saw earlier, there are 2 colors in that box. So we're going to use the yellow ones to dry. We'll let you know at the end what we think about these for a drying towel. Obviously, like when we were at the store, the drying towels that are made for drying tend to absorb a lot more water. So I don't know how these will do, but we're going to dry it with this. The general public clicks these a lot more. I don't know. Now we're moving on to the wheels. I'm gonna use a microfiber towel. As you saw, we were using the yellow ones to dry. I'm gonna use the blue one and kind of dedicate this one to just the wheels only. Now I only have 2 colors, yellow and blue. So this one's gonna be for the wheels, and then we're gonna use the blue again for the sealant protection we're gonna apply. So let's clean wheels. So I'm gonna wet the wheel, and I'm gonna liberally spread this product. Now this does say it is a wheel and tire cleaner. I don't have a brush. Normally I would wanna use a brush on the tire. Like I said, we were on a budget, so let's just clean the wheels. Now the nice thing, obviously, right off the bat, it foams, so that's always kind of nice. And there's really no easy way to do wheels. Now, if you had a brush, you could kind of use the brush, which is also nice to have. But the best way, from our experience as detailers, is you just gotta get in there with your hands and fingers. Now, if you can wear gloves, I recommend it. Now, it's important too to note every different wheel that you have out there are not going to clean the same, whether they have a matte finish or a classic American chrome. So you do want to be careful. If you see any damages, any flakes, any areas where there's paint potentially coming off or anything like that, just leave it alone. You definitely don't want to make it worse. And like I said, if I had a brush, I would actually rub this tire as well. But you can see that it is pulling some of the grime off the wheel just with the product alone, which is a good sign. Now I'm going to rinse this off. So I'm just going to continue going through all the wheels before we put the ceramic coating on. But I did want to say something that I forgot about washing the vehicle. You want to do it early in the morning or late in the evening, and I'll tell you why. It's because when the sun's out, especially if you live in the southern states, it gets quite hot. You don't want the water to dry on the paint, as it can cause watermarks, and we've all seen those watermarks. They're really tough to get out sometimes. So I always like to wash, obviously, if you can wash inside, ideal. If you can't, just wait till there's a little bit of overcast, and then you'll be good to clean. So now we're gonna put some ceramic detailer, SiO2 and wax technology. I'll just show you how I do it. I like to shake the bottle, get the product nice and mixed up, and then I'm just gonna mist. I'm gonna close this off and just do about a quarter of the car, and I'm just gonna work gradually, quarter. Once again, if it's cooler, you probably prefer to do it in a cooler temperature. If it's warm, the product can settle into place and then be really hard to wipe off. This one specifically, I do not know. I'll find out right now. But generally, with anything that's spray-on wax or sealants, I like to do them in cooler temperatures and kind of work the product while it's still wet. You don't want it to dry. I'll show you how much exactly I'm gonna use here in this case. I like to do about 2 or 3 sprays per panel. Just enough, but not too much. And I'm using the same microfiber towels. Obviously, the one that I used on wheels, I put away. And I'm just gonna now use this one to level the product off. And what you wanna do is you just wanna make sure that you don't get any streaking left on the paint. Otherwise, it will be hard to wipe off. So pay attention to your paint, look at it from different angles. And you don't need to use any pressure on this. You're really just trying to get the product across. And it's always nice to do this every time you do a car wash. Honestly, I recommend it to all of our clients. If you're already gonna wash your car, take an extra 10 minutes and put some sort of protection on the paint. Now, obviously, if you have the budget, I will always advise going ceramic coating, as it's just a lot more durable. But this works too, especially if you're driving just a daily driver that you haven't spent too much money into. All right, so we just got that sealant ceramic protection on. And so one thing we always like to do is just feel the paint lightly just to see like initial reaction. And we'll talk about it towards the end, but it's not bad. You guys want to see what it's like? Is it pretty slick?
Oh yeah, it's pretty slick. Yeah.
Let's do a little water test. It's got a little sheeting. It's not too bad. Okay, so we got the whole car wash as you saw the process. That was about 40 bucks, right? And so now we're just gonna give you our opinion as to what we think of the product. And let's just go first with, let's talk about the mitt. What did you guys think of that mitt?
The mitt, for the money, it was actually really nice because I like that sponge on the back to hold. I like Adam's, like I would say the sponge I would never use, but it's really good for you to hold it and just be able to like do everything you want with it.
Yeah, it does have a nice little grab.
Yeah.
For a sponge on a budget, it's not bad. Just
And it's pretty soft.
yeah, it's really soft. I just
Yeah.
wouldn't use that harder side, but
Yep.
it's good for a handle.
So now we're gonna go over the Black Magic wash soap that we use. It's got a 4.6 rating out of 233 ratings. We're gonna rate it from 1 to 5 as well. And I'm gonna go ahead and rate it a 2.5. And that's just because I like to see a little bit more suds. Obviously, I wasn't using a foam gun. I think I probably could have got more suds out of it. But it smelled nice. But yeah, a little more suds I would have liked. How about you guys?
I would give it a 2 out of 5. I feel like it was too diluted with water, and it looked like it was drying pretty quick on the car. With that, it's not very good while you're washing the car, especially when you're washing big vehicles. You don't want the soap drying out.
I would give it a 2.5 out of 5 stars, just because I feel like you get a good amount of product, but like going off of what they said earlier, it's not sudsy enough, and I feel like it didn't really lubricate the car that much. The sponge didn't feel like it was really gliding. It felt like it was kind of just catching every here and there, unlike the soap that we like to use. But we also didn't use a foam gun, so that's probably one of the reasons why too.
The Turtle Wax wheel cleaner has a 4.3 out of 5 star with 82 ratings. I thought it wasn't too bad. You could tell that it wasn't as aggressive as I would have liked. But for a budget option, honestly, it wasn't too bad. You got to keep in mind it's also a wheel and tire cleaner. So if you get it too strong for a wheel, it's generally not good for the rubber on the tire. So it's not a bad product. I would be just okay with this 4.3 rating, just like Amazon has. It does have a nice bottle, and it does have great foam action. So 4.3 sounds fair to me. Then we'll go to the Ultimate Hybrid Ceramic Detailer. That one has a 4.3 rating out of 5 with 720 ratings. So that's actually pretty high. What do you guys think?
I think I'd give it a 2 out of 5. I mean, it didn't really bead like how the bottle said it would be. It does a lot of sheeting, and usually with a sealant like that, you want to see more beading rather than sheeting. Yeah, I was unimpressed.
I give it a 1.8 star, just because I didn't really like it. It's like going off what Adam said, it didn't really bead. I didn't like how it sheeted so much, and I also didn't like how it left a lot of streaks if you're not careful with how you apply it. I mean, that's usually how it is with spray on, wax, sealant, whatever. If you're not really careful with it, it's always going to streak. But that's one of the main things that I look for in a spray wax like that is the beading. I want to see it bead. I want to at least a little bit. But it's like Adam said, yes, it did slide off, but it was more sheeting than beading. So
And I'm actually going to be the oddball here, and I'm going to give this one at least a 4 out of 5. And that's just because I enjoyed that it was kind of smooth and easy to apply. But they're definitely right. I'm looking at the bottle right here on Amazon, and it shows me beads. So therefore, I would expect beads, and we didn't really see that. We kind of saw sheeting, which is not bad as well. But beading is always fun to see. Lets you know that the product is still on the car. Let's go right into these. These were the $10 pack for a bunch of microfiber towels. And these towels actually all gave us a reaction pretty easy out the box. First of all, they were all attached together and we had to tear them up.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. And then I thought, so they're very damp and you probably can't see it through the camera. But that lets you know that you either need a whole load of these. We used pretty much everything that's on the table here just for drying, and you probably got over a dozen here. But it was decent for applying ceramic spray, I thought, just because it's kind of fluffy. What do you guys think of these towels?
I give it a 1 out of 5. Well, mainly because you go through too many of them to dry a vehicle, and it doesn't leave a good finish after you wipe up all the water. And I don't know. I mean, the one, because they're really soft. So you want soft towels so you don't scratch your car.
I'd go with 2, just because 2 out of 5 stars, just because it's soft, which I do like. But the fact of the matter is that it didn't really dry that well. I could see you using these to apply stuff, but besides that, like if you're gonna use it to dry your car, I'd say just spend the extra little money.
I'd say they're better for interiors.
So that was washing my Civic Si using products from Walmart. We kept it under a budget. I know that our ratings were a little bit low, but we also have expectations that are much higher as professional detailers. I will say they definitely all did the trick and got my car clean. What I will say as well, as a professional detailer, the products are very important, don't get me wrong. And we'll do another video in the future that shows some of the better products that we use as well. But I just want to let you guys know that meticulous care over time is the most important factor in keeping a clean car. That means you cannot be lazy with your vehicle. We pay $20, $30, $40, $150,000 for these things. We should keep up with them. That means you should wash often and regularly. And just by doing that, you can do a lot to protect your vehicle for the long term. If you ever resell, or if you're the type that just holds on to a lot of cars, you can just know that you have a clean stable of vehicles. That's all I got for the video. Once again, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe. I hope you learned something. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Yeah.